You're listening to the Film Festival Secrets podcast. I'm Chris Holland. So I had a conversation the other night with my friend Amy, who is about to take her new documentary short out onto the festival circuit. Now, Amy's a veteran of the festival scene, but with this new short, finds herself in a position that apparently she's never been in before, and that is to have two offers on the table. One very firm from one festival that I'll call Festival A, and another which is not quite so firm, some expressed interest, but not a firm offer from Festival B. And both are great festivals. Like, she'd be thrilled to play either festival with this little doc short, which is a wonderful little film, by the way. It's called Pickle. And if you check out the show notes, I will include a link to the website so you can check out the trailer and what it's all about for yourself. But see, Festival A is a terrific festival, like I said, and one that Amy would be very happy to play. But Festival B, the festival that's kind of on the fence, is her dream date. It's a festival that she's always dreamed of getting into, and she finally has some interest and some communication from this festival, and she's thinking, this prestigious festival, if I go with Festival A first, they might be less likely to take my film. If you're in this position, it's a lucky position to be in, but it can be terrifying, it can be nerve-wracking, and you're not sure whether to go with the bird in the hand, which is Festival A, but you really, really want to play at Festival B. So Festival B is dragging its feet, but has indicated that premiere status, even for a short, is kind of important to them. And Amy's in a dilemma. Does she say yes to Festival A and risk losing her shot at Festival B, or say no to Festival A and potentially lose out on both opportunities? The first thing to do is recognize that this is a business transaction and that the film festival is your customer. Some filmmakers get so anxious about getting into a festival and their emotions sort of enter the scene that they forget that their film has value to the festival. The festival needs the film to please their audience. Pleasing the audience means full theaters. Full theaters means happy sponsors, and everybody has a better time. So don't lose sight of the fact that the festival has something to gain here too, and you can use the value of your film to negotiate. Not in a mean way or a malicious way, but in a way that makes sure that you and the festival both get what you want without you giving up too much in the process. So think about festivals as customers, and in order to have some leverage with your customer, in order to get the best price for your product, you need to know who the customer is and what it is that they want. Your leverage in this situation is that if you've reached the stage where the festival has reached out to you and indicated that they're considering your film for inclusion, you know that they already want what you have. And so there's a demand for your product, and that's good. If you have to negotiate around a situation like this, understand that this isn't going to be a surprise, more than likely, to the festival that is asking for your film. If they've been around for any length of time at all, they've heard your dilemma before. They probably know who the other festival is, if you don't tell them. And, they're used to it. Generally, if they're a less prestigious festival, if they have been in the situation before, they're going to cut you some slack. They're going to, grouse about it a little maybe. But they know where they are in the grand pecking order of festivals. It seems sort of undemocratic and unartistically fair to think about it that way, but that's really how it is. Just like there's varying demands for different films from festivals, there's varying levels of demand for each festival from filmmakers. And, until the less prestigious festival ups its game, becomes more prestigious, it's just going to have to deal with that. They're probably going to cut you some slack once you've sort of indicated what your position is. But at some point, they're going to have to move on. If you feel like you're being strong-armed or they're sending you on a guilt trip, but you've kind of made up your mind that Festival B is the festival you really want, be as polite as possible and decline. Say, no, I'm sorry. It, really breaks my heart. I'm so thrilled that you like my film that you want to include it. But if I have to say yes and forego Festival B at this time, then I'm sorry, Festival A, you're just not in the picture. Be as conciliatory and gracious as you can, and hopefully they'll do the same in return. Another thing to keep in mind is that programmers are human. Relationships are important, of course, and emotions are important, but in order to get to their goal, which is to have a program of good films, programmers very often take the path of least resistance. So if they're having trouble with, your film, and it looks like they've got another film that they want just as much, they may simply pass on your film altogether. So you have to be prepared for these different scenarios to happen. Hopefully the lines of communication are open enough that it won't be a huge problem or a surprise to you when they do move on. That said, programmers do have integrity. They will generally tell you the truth. They're not going to outright lie to you. And their festival reputation is at stake. If they have a habit of treating filmmakers poorly, word gets around. It gets around slowly, and the internet's a big place. The world's a big place, but that reputation does get around, particularly if you spend, more than one film's worth of time on the festival circuit. So don't feel like the festivals are going to jerk you around. Be honest about what it is that you want. Tell them what your situation is, and have some confidence in your film and in yourself. Know that this is probably not going to be your only festival opportunity. If one festival wants your film, chances are other festivals are going to want your film. And if that big premiere at Festival B is what's really important to you, maybe you hold out for that. You have to be prepared for the fact that maybe Festival B doesn't want your film after all, but those are the risks that you take. And there are plenty of other festivals at Festival A's level, being less prestigious, that perhaps you'll be able to get into. Maybe not. These are the chances that you take. But calculated risks are generally worth it, especially if you've gotten to the point where you're actually talking to the festival programmers. If you haven't heard a thing from Festival B and Festival A is actively seeking you out and saying, we want you, that's particularly if they offer you a good time slot, or they say, we're going to have your film play on opening night, all these little perks that maybe they're going to throw your way. Festival B probably isn't going to throw those perks your way. So keep in mind, sometimes it's better to be the big fish in a small pond. And sometimes it's better to just wait out and see how big of a pond you can get into. It's all about what it is exactly that you want and how you feel about it. Try not to let your emotions rule what you do, but take into account how you're going to feel about the end result if you go one way or the other. So, to recap, sometimes you get caught in a dilemma. You're wondering whether you should hold out for a more prestigious festival when you have an offer from a less prestigious festival. The key factors here are to recognize your ability to negotiate in a polite and professional way. Have some confidence in the fact that you've reached this stage of negotiation, and always be communicative and honest and transparent in what it is that you're doing. That doesn't mean you have to give away the farm and tell them exactly how you're feeling at every moment, but generally just try and be low maintenance, be professional, and festivals will treat you the same way. Good luck with those submissions, and thanks for listening. For more information on Amy Nicholson's film Pickle, visit picklethefish.com. For more information on Film Festival Secrets, visit filmfestivalsecrets.com or find me on Twitter at FFSecrets. Thanks again for listening.